All right. Good afternoon from Florida, Eastern Time. Thank you so much for joining and welcome to the following webinar. We have a great speaker from Canada this time, Marie Gervais. So I said the last name in French.
Very good.
Thank you, Marie. And it's an exciting topic. I'm sure a lot of you guys have read through the 3 points agenda. Of course, Marie is going to elaborate on those. And just like the other webinars, I will have questions for Marie in between times, and you guys can ask questions at any time. I will read them out to Marie. And let me go ahead and introduce Marie. So I have a short biography here that I'll read out to you guys, and then we'll pass it on to Marie. Okay, so Marie Gervais provides supervisory leadership training for industry, writes e-learning curriculum for workplace learning, and manages projects for integration of immigrant workers and immigrant entrepreneurship. Amazing. Her work has a particular focus on developing diverse workforce capacity and helping industry build a talent pipeline. We have invited Marie, some of our partners, to join this, which just your biography, it talks to them. So this is great. They are from different parts of the world, a big partner from Nigeria as well. But majority of our partners are very diverse across the globe. So, all right, now, just before I pass to Marie the microphone and the screen share, everybody, if you have any questions, click at the bottom right corner. There's a green button that says online. Go ahead and type in your question. I have another screen that I will read out the questions and moderate them and answer them in order. So again, thank you so much for joining. Marie, it's all yours.
Thank you, Ridwan, and thank you very much for this opportunity to be able to present to your audience and some of your partners. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking very much forward to hearing what people have to say, and that's why I really hope people put things into the chat box. And usually when I'm doing a webinar, I really like to ask people why they came to the webinar, because they usually have a specific reason. So if you could, I can't see that chat box, but if you could type it in. Why are you interested in this topic of turning your students into raving fans? So why are you interested in it? And then Ridwan can feed those to me and I can comment on them, because I like to respond as we go through it. So, and if you came from various different countries, it might be nice also for the audience to see what countries people are coming from, where they're logging in from. So you could put that in too, and then just jump in anytime, Ridwan, and let me answer those or comment to those, or feel free to say any of those things, if that's all right with you.
Sure. Yeah, they can hear the question, but I'll also type it in here. And we do actually track what country they come from. So this is great. I can show you some of the countries, but of course, feel free to just tell us where you're from, maybe the city. We just track the country. We see a little map. America, we have Italy. I don't know this map or this. We have France, Brazil, so and Canada, England. So anybody that would like to share the city or country, feel free to type that in. As far as the question, I will speak up and then also type it in. So the question is, why did you register for this webinar, and what do you hope to learn from it? And just so you know, Marie, it is about 8 seconds lag before they get the question when we speak. So we will we'll just wait for a little bit, or if you want to carry on, I will stop you and then read out the questions from or the comments from the audience.
Okay, are you seeing the title slide yet?
Let's see. Let me come back to that screen. I'm switching screens. Yes, I see it.
Great. So this is the webinar, and that's me with different hair color. I can't seem to keep my hair color the same consistency. So there, I have all these photos with different hair color, and people often comment on it, which is why I thought I'd say something about it. You already heard that. And so this is what we are going to talk about today. And I hope you are seeing this slide, which should say themes to discuss today. Is that what you're seeing, Ridwan? So that's slides to discuss today, and we're going to look at 5 different topics. I know I only mentioned 3 in
Sorry,
the webinar.
I'm seeing turning online students into raving fans. So I don't,
Okay.
when you hit the play button.
I have changed the slides already 4 times, so I'm not sure.
It's not showing that. So that's
okay.
We see your PowerPoint right now.
Okay, but are you seeing the slide that says themes to discuss today?
No. Did you hit the share the entire screen or share the application?
I did share screen.
Okay. Yes.
And also,
we still see your PowerPoint.
Okay. Should I move out of full screen? I'm in full screen mode. Should I move out of?
Yeah, move out of full screen and then try to go just through the PowerPoint, I guess.
Okay, let me try that.
Here we go. I see now you switching the screen. So now it's themes to discuss today. Yes.
All right. Let's use that then, if that's working better.
Yep, that looks better now.
Okay. So themes to discuss today is we're going to look at training methods, just what people have done in the past, and what they've, and not just the past, but recent past as well. Some pros and cons to each of those methods, and then a little bit about how students actually like to learn and some new findings about that. And it's not specific to culture, although there are cultural differences, and there are also cultural preferences. But there are things that people just learn better in spite of cultural difference. So there are some human things that we know about, and then there are also some cultural things. And then there's engagement, and so that is getting students really excited about the course and what they're going to learn and how this will apply to them. And that is very important, because people do better in the course if you spend significant time on engagement, and that's generally where there is nothing happening. People are not spending time on engaging people before the course. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how it works and what it looks like, and then understanding your audience, which is key. And that's what I really hope people take away from this particular presentation, is how important it is to get closer and closer and closer to your audience. And that just makes a huge difference in how much people remember, how excited they are about it, how much they share about it, and everything that turns them from just being passive people into being really engaged, excited, and then even fans that are spreading the word. And the last part is just talking a little bit about multiple engagement platforms, because different things grab different people, and so how you can use that. So if I was thinking that there were probably 3 kinds of audiences. Now, if you don't fit into this particular audience, why don't you type it into any of these audiences, type it into the chat box so Ridvan can then tell me about it.
So actually, since you're at this topic, we have 3 responses.
Okay.
One of them is saying, I have been following eDiango for some time now, and I find it very interesting what they do. I'm just passionate about e-learning. Another one from Melissa, I hope to launch a global training division.
Awesome.
Nice. And the last one, I've been trying to sell courses online, and I'm learning every day new things. So Ethan.
Okay, when I first started this presentation, developing it, I did it entirely for the audience that was trying to sell courses online. And then after talking to Ridvan and Stephen, I decided that might not be a good idea. So I made it more general, but I do have another presentation about selling online, which you can talk to me about at another time, but there'll be some things in here that are going to really help you with selling online. And if you haven't used e-learning before, but you're just wondering how it works or thinking how you can get your feet wet, I think this presentation will also help you. And it'll help you to avoid making the mistakes people often make when they first start out in e-learning. So I'm going to start with this first one, which is training methods, what people generally have done in the past. And I do have, quite a long background. Like, this is my 3rd career. So my first career was, I was a teacher. I taught everything from kindergarten all the way up to university for 5 years. So I have done every level, every age. And I also at the same time had a professional development business on the side, and I did professional development work. And then I worked for a not-for-profit where I was training. And then I started my own business where I was doing more training. And that training was mostly classroom style, because we didn't have all of the online tools that we had now. And what we did have was difficult to access. So I thought, the future is online, and I started incorporating about 5 or 6 years ago. I started incorporating more and more online tools into what I was doing. And then one day I sat down, but I came late to an e-learning presentation which was a workshop, and the person I sat next to also came in late, and there were only 2 seats, and they were there, so we sat next to each other. And she wrote me a note, and she said, "This is really boring. I could tell you a lot more about e-learning if you just want to go for coffee." So we ditched the conference and went out for coffee, and she talked to me for 3 hours, and we started. I started the next day on e-learning. I started looking for a platform. I started looking at what I liked. I started to take, I'd already taken a couple of e-learning courses, and I started to look around for that. So that's just a little bit about my background. So I have a lot of experience with classroom style interaction, and I was initially worried that online wasn't going to give me that same personality or personability or engagement that you get from being live. But I think I've really overcome that. So the classroom style really gives you a personal connection with the instructor. The downside is maybe you don't like that instructor, or you don't feel connected and you're stuck with them. So that's one issue. The other thing is that on the classroom style, instructors tend to be sort of, they have a couple of styles. They might be really engaging and interactive with people, or they might just be sage on the stage where they just talk and the students just take notes. So both of those have their drawbacks. The interactivity is fine, although a lot of people feel that instructors don't handle interactivity well enough to satisfy the group generally. It usually only satisfies a small percentage of people. And then if they're just talking, if it depends on how good they are as far as a presentation style. And it's very passive. So what happens with all classroom style stuff is people really, they maybe remember between 20 and 25% of what they've learned. And after about 3 months, they don't even remember they took the course. So you think back on your own courses. What do you remember from the courses you took? You probably remember the people you sat next to, and the friends you had, and maybe something funny that happened or something sad that happened during the course. You don't remember the course content, and that's typical of classroom style learning. The worst part about it is that people do not remember what they've learned, and they can't apply it to their lives. So top pro side is that you can engage with the instructor and have a relationship, and you also are with other people and you can have a relationship with them. Downside is that may not work out for you. There can be all of the issues I already described. And there are more, but I won't go into all the details. Then people started to use PowerPoints, and then they put, oh, let's put a voice to it. So they did voice PowerPoints, and they timed them so that the learners could not move beyond whatever the timing was, and they had to listen to somebody drone on. That is very popular. It's still being used everywhere, and it's just dead boring, and people despise it. In fact, e-learning has gotten such a bad reputation for this that it's really hard to think of anything positive to say. So it's just a presenting topic in a PowerPoint and then having a boring voice in the background, even an exciting voice in the background, is just dull, and it has no engagement. So maybe the good thing is that you can download the slides and you can look back to them and refer to them. However, talk to anybody who's downloaded slides from something like this, and the likelihood that they've ever looked back at it is probably less than 2 or 3%. So on to the third one, which is video. And this is a real favorite of, for example, some of my construction company clients. So at first the videos were really boring and would reinforce the wrong thing. So they'll make a safety video, for example, and they'll let people sit in front of the safety video, and they fall asleep in it. And then afterwards they check the box off and say, yep, they're trained on safety, and they go out and have an accident in a few minutes later. Like, that's how bad the videos are. Then they started to up their game with the videos and say, well, let's just show some graphic things and scare people to death with how bad the safety thing is. Let's show someone being electrocuted, or somebody, falling off a shaft or something like that. And people will then be more motivated to be, or let's show a quadriplegic, and say, this is what, and hear his story. So then people were just like trembling with fear. So I'm giving you an exaggeration, but this is how video was used. Then people started to get savvy with it. They started using animations. They started using scenarios, and usually adding a PDF to it. So good side is it's visual. People love visual stuff, and they remember visual things better than anything else. So that's the upside for video. Downside, really passive, doesn't engage people. So here what we've got is we've got 3 styles of passive learning.
Hey, Marie, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Sure.
Are you back to the full screen, or are you still switching?
No, I'm not on full screen, and I was on the 3 typical training methods.
Got it. Oh, you're still there. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, and now I'm moving to number 2.
Got it.
So what works better than those 3 things that I was telling you about, which have a lot of drawbacks? They have their pros, but they also have a lot of cons. So here's a few things. First off, if you look at the photograph on the top, I hope you're seeing this photograph now with a big red X and a big green arrow. Is that what you're seeing?
Yep. Yeah, we see that.
All right. So this is, if you can see it at all, there's a few people asleep. One guy looks like he's going to fall off his chair. He's asleep, and they're all really bored. And that's the problem with a lot of classroom training, that people haven't thought through to engage the participants or find out what the participants really need. And then the other one, it could be classroom, it could be a blended online, could be e-learning. They could be showing each other something. They could be doing a coaching session using online resources, but they're certainly engaged. And what you see there is you see emotion, you see people using a variety of things, and you see interactivity, and you see community, which is something I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. So in order to be successful, any kind of training, and particularly e-learning training, needs to have 3 kinds of relationships. That's why I went relationship, 3 times. And the first relationship is with the content. People have to believe that the content matters to me now. And that didn't used to be so much the case, but it is really the case now with today's learners. And even across different ages, different generations, different cultures, people want to make sure this matters to them personally right now. They want to know what to expect. They want to see the structure of the course, know what their options are and where they have flexibility within the course. And they want to know what the next steps are. So it needs to be the relationship with the content. It's not just the content, it's how the content is organized and how much it speaks to the learner that really matters. And people, yeah, sir, go ahead.
So I just want to add some flavor, and maybe you can add to it, because the last 2 slides you talked about is really, by the way, I've been a professor for 8 years at school and online. At the university level here in US, and it really has to do with motivation. So Marie talks about engagement, which means how do you get the learners motivated? Is that kind of the strategy? How do you get them where if you just lecture and they sit in there and who knows what their mind is, or they may be texting, how do you motivate them to listen in? How do you engage them to interact with you? So I just want to say that, is that kind of the direction?
I do have some stuff about that, which I'm going to get to in a bit. But basically, motivation comes from within. Nobody can make someone motivated. You can pique their interest.
Okay.
You can challenge them. You can get them excited about something. You can get them enraged about something, but you can't motivate them. The motivation comes from the work itself. So if I'm motivated to take the course because I'm interested in the content, or I'm motivated to take the course because I need it to get to some other goal, or I'm motivated to take the course because it's going to show me some skills that I currently do not have that I need to learn. So that motivation is what people need to tap into to engage their students. It's tapping into the motivation they already have. You can stand on your head. I actually had an instructor when I was in university who did stuff like that. He would come in, stand on his head, he would light fire from his palm and stuff like that. It was really a fun way to start the course, and it was neat. And he said that was his motivation, but really it wasn't, because the motivation, whether, if people are not motivated to be there, they're going to fall asleep 2 minutes after the fire in the palm of his hand disappears anyway. Right. So it's the same with jobs. So if you are doing training for people at work, you want to make sure they're there because they want to do the work. That's their main motivation. And so if they can't, and the course should help them do their work better. So that's what you need to tie in to make sure the content makes sense to them.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay, so am I good to go to the next one then? Okay, so then the next thing is people need a relationship with an instructor. And the biggest drawback from the voice PowerPoints and the videos is that people feel that there's no one on the other end. They just don't feel an emotional connection with anybody. And if you have a what's that called again? Like self-paced online course, it can still have a relationship with the instructor. If you use video where you are talking to the students, the live instructor is talking to the students, but it's a video. If stories or tweets or interactions from previous students have been used in it, and the instructor makes a personal comment on why this is important. So you can still have a relationship with an instructor that's been canned in a way, and people will still feel that they have that relationship. For example, I listen to podcasts every day, like all the time I'm listening to podcasts. And I feel like I have a relationship with those people. I have never met them. There are 12 people whose podcasts I listen to, and I feel like they're my friends. You listen to the radio, you feel like the announcer is your friend. And the reason for that is the way that they relate to the audience. They're actually thinking about the audience when they're making the content. And it feels like they're speaking to you. So that's really important, that you can have that relationship, even if it's a self-paced, pre-recorded course. It can still be there, but that really matters. And people also need to know that there's an instructor with a personality. You don't try to be neutral. Being yourself is the most important thing. Showing little quirks and stuff about you is what's going to make people feel like they know you. So that's important. If you have a self-paced course, students still need to know that they've got someone they can talk to for customer support, or if they have a problem, right? Mm-hmm. And that can help. You can even have a relationship with artificial intelligence. So you can have a little robot that comes in. Hi, I'm your bot today. What would you like to know? You can still feel like that's part of the relationship, but it can be varied and structured and nuanced, but it's really important that it is there. And the third thing is you need to feel you're connected with other people. And so now I have my tech guy who does the back end of most of my web tools and stuff. He said to me, I don't really need a relationship with the community, because every month I'm taking new online courses, and I just take the ones like lynda.com, where I can watch it and answer the questions, and I don't have to deal with anybody else. But you know what? He's part of the lynda.com community. And he feels attracted to different courses and he has actually interacted with people who have taken some of those courses that he liked online through apps. So he still belongs to a community, even though he says he doesn't. And people need to feel like they belong to the community. That's why Edu On Go, it's great that there's a chat box, and there's a who's online, and there's a contact us if you need support. Like, I love that about the platform. But you can have lots of informal, semi-structured opportunities for people to feel like they're part of the community. And even if they never take advantage of it because they're lurkers, they still feel connected because you gave them those opportunities. So, so those three: content, instructor, and community. There has to be a relationship with those things in order for people to feel satisfied and excited about the course.
Yep, I just want to read out one comment from Melissa Hill again. She gave the city as well, Chesapeake, West Virginia. So thank you, Melissa, for sharing that. She says, number one, adult learning theory. Adults must have the desire to learn the topic. So I guess,
yes,
the points that you mentioned, it helps the adults to increase the desire to learn the topic. So I just wanted to share her comment as well. And then there's another comment from US again, is I believe learning should fall on the learners more than the teacher, especially in self-paced courses. Maybe we can touch this topic.
The learning is always the learner's responsibility. And in North America, people have fallen into this trap where the teacher feels it's their responsibility for the learner to learn. It's only your responsibility to teach. It's only your responsibility to create the environment in which learning can take place. So what I'm talking about here is creating an environment that is so conducive to learning that people really want to be there. But the actual learning that takes place is never your responsibility. It's always the student's responsibility. And if they don't learn, it's not really your problem. It's their problem. But they can still feel less empowered to learn because of the environment. So I really like to optimize the environment. And I used to be a drama teacher, and people would say, when you teach drama, you create the environment for people to find their voice and express themselves in ways they never thought they could before, if you're doing it right. But you can't make someone who doesn't like drama suddenly become expressive and find their voice. If they hate it and they don't want to be there, it's just not going to happen. And I remember one student that I had once when I was teaching drama, he said to me, what I learned from this course is that I really prefer music and math to drama. But I did learn some skills that I think I'll be able to use in other aspects of my life. He was 13 when he said that to me. So I think knowing what you don't like is just as important as what you do like. So if you've done a good job of creating the right environment, people can decide if they like it or don't like it and if they're going to move forward with that or not. So there's a book also that I really love. It's called Make It Stick. Make It Stick is the name of the book. And it's about all the recent trends on how people actually learn. And one of the ways that they learn is to have constant challenges and tests unexpectedly. And how they don't learn is for people to entertain them. Although I think it's important to create a good environment. If your goal is to entertain, they don't learn. They just get entertained. And how they also don't learn is by reading and reviewing. So reading and reviewing has, in fact, makes them learn less. And this has been proven in study after study in many different countries. So people learn best from being challenged. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more, but I just thought I'd throw that out to you. It's a great book if you want to read it. They also said people learn best when they make their own learning intentional and set a goal and say that intention to somebody else. Once they do that, they tap into their own inner motivation. So instead of people trying to do a whole bunch of stuff that's going to keep students happy and entertained, if they get the students to say, well, what's your intent? Where do you want to go with this? How do you want to use it? And they state it, then they're going to tap into where their motivation lies. I hope that helps answer.
Yeah, speaking of this a little bit, there's one from Brazil. I don't have a challenge driving traffic. I have a challenge to keep students engaged in the content and come back. Are you going to cover this topic?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
So here's stuff. One way to keep students engaged in the content is to make the content dynamic. Now, and apps are becoming dynamic. We are being followed online in a dynamic way. So when you go online, you go Google something, and you Google that content 2 or 3 times, Google will start following you and sending you more content from that because it seems like Google is paying attention to you. So, and this is the new trend in e-learning right now, is that content is becoming dynamic. Now, how do you do that when you're creating a program, right? Part of the way that you do that is to create opportunities for multiple platforms and to offer choices to students. And so you may have a bank of resources, and you can say, if you have a question about this, here are 5 things that apply. So then click on any of the ones that, it's like Amazon sends you, you try to order a book from Amazon, and underneath it says people who bought this book also bought these. And then you click on one of them and it says, we recommend these if you like this book, right? That's a way to present dynamic content. So you have content that you can then, people can click on if they want to, so you have a bank of extra stuff that people can get to. And that really matters to engaging students and having them come back, because they want to see that you've got depth to your course. And if your course is only based on the specific content that you've got, then they won't want to come back later because they'll think there's nothing left. The other thing is, the more your content has real people with personal experience involved in it and there are stories in it, the more likely people are to come back. People are just hungry for stories all the time, and they relate to the story even if it has nothing to do with their lives. They empathize with the story, with the character, with the person in it, and they find it interesting. So if you want people to come back to your content, use more story and find innovative, interesting ways to use story. And the third way is to be problem focused and solution oriented. So people come to the course because they have a problem. Maybe you don't know what the problem is. If they're not coming back to the course, it's because you either haven't clearly identified the problem, or you haven't provided a solution that they think is appropriate or adequate or complete enough. So I'm going to get into that more. The other thing is people tend to dump content. So they create a course and they dump the whole content and they give access to the student. And what we found now from the way people prefer to learn online and the way they stay motivated to complete courses online is they drip rather than dump content. That means you may have created it all. Hopefully you have, because it's a truckload worth of work to make a really good course, but you drip it to them. and you send the schedule out, and even if they don't follow the schedule, they will get more done if you drip it to them and send them reminders from the schedule, which you can plug into an email program. So the student lists can go into a program that gives them reminders on specific dates. So if you drip the content and remind them, then they will get through the whole content and remember it better than if you give them access to the whole course and they can go wherever they like. Then they will do a lot less. The other way to keep people engaged with the course is to always go from micro to macro. What we've done in the past is say, here's the overview, and here's the big theories, and here's the concepts, and now we're going to explain how this works, and then you get to an example. But really, the way to get to people's hearts is through the example. You start with the example, you start with the problem, and it can be really tiny, and then you show how this little problem or this example leads to so many other things. And then they're so hungry for the content because they want to know how to solve it. So it's going backwards from what we used to do, which was very concept oriented, and we bring the concept in through the example. And then I just put this, I repeated, I'm into a threes thing here. So video 3 times, audio 3 times, and visual 3 times. If you have those 3 things in your course, you're really going to guarantee engagement at a deeper level. However, video alone is not going to do it. And I'm kind of that's kind of a bee in my bonnet. I don't like it when people just say, oh, I'll just do 1,000 videos and it'll be fine. That's okay. You can watch a YouTube channel, right? And get a bunch of ideas from that. But it's going to be 80% passive. You're not going to get people to act on it. And then the other thing to get people to come to be excited about the course and engage with it is to integrate with other apps. So for example, there's a Classroom. Slack is an app that I use with my team, and there's Slack classrooms now. There's Facebook. There's Twitter chats. You could have a Twitter chat. If you integrate with other apps, and there you've crossed from the public or the private to the public sphere, and vice versa. People are they're going to stay in the community and come back to your courses. So I generally create a Facebook group for each of my courses, and then it creates a network that eventually becomes self-sustaining. And that network encourages the rest of the network, and you also see where their new course needs are, so you can develop content that suits the community. So, and I'm going to go to, I know you probably have more questions, but I'll see if I can answer some of them by going through what you've got.
Yeah, go for it, because I think we might have to wrap up the presentation in like 4 or 5 minutes. Or
oh, okay. All right. So I have to talk about 2 things.
Okay.
One thing is it's really important to build the excitement long before the course starts. Okay. So, if you're a university, you're going to start building the excitement 6 to 8 months ahead of time. But then universities don't tend to, send things to the students to get them excited about the course. If you're running your own academy or your own training, company training program, you need to set the tone for success, and you need to have people see their desired state ahead of time. So if they were not able to supervise, or they had some people problems, you're saying, where you're going to be authoritative, your team will love you, you're going to be able to provide direction with clarity, and you're excited to come to work every day. So there's the desired state, and you set the tone for that ahead of time. And the other thing that I've discovered that's really important is to establish a launch date. So you launch the course and get everybody excited about it, and then they can hardly wait to start. And that also helps them with the finishing. You provide instructor support and community access, and make sure it's really clear what they're going to be able to do after the course that they could not do before the course. So if you do those things, this is going to build the excitement. And finally, upper level decision maker commitment is really important if you're doing this in the workplace. If you don't have buy-in from the managers and the upper managers, it's not going to work. So now the other thing I really want to cover today, and then we can wrap things up because the rest is not as important, is how to understand your audience. And I used to think I understood my audience, but I was so wrong. I have really learned a lot, and I'm continuing to learn. So I'm going to give you 2 examples of how I've done this with 2 of my courses. One of my courses is called the Canadian Workplace, and it helps people to understand Canadian workplace culture, how to find work through the back door, because you can't get work from the front door in Canada. So how to find work in hidden job markets, and then how to keep your job, and how to deal with the mistakes that you're likely to make. So it's a great course, and people say it's transformed their lives, but I found it's really hard to get people into the course. So I started to survey them to find out why they're having trouble getting into the course, committing to getting into that course. And I found out that it was because of loss of confidence. They felt, and then they needed something smaller to be able to get into the course that would help them address that pain point first. So I did the survey, and they said, how did you lose confidence in your job search and what helped you to get it back? I share the results with them and provide the remedy for the pain, which is job search skills and understanding Canadian culture, and lead into the course that way. Then I give them a free course, and the free course leads to the paid course. And I'm just going to give you an example of how powerful this is when you survey your audience. These are some of the things they said to me. When you're out of work, only your weaknesses are on display. I feel embarrassed, estranged. I'm lucky if I have any confidence left. Dealing with the financial stress makes it worse. I feel like I fell into a black hole. So I was able to use their pain points to say, okay, I'm going to get with 2 people. I only did this with 2 people. I got on the phone. I talked to them for half an hour, 1 web meeting, 1 phone meeting, and their stories became case studies to lead into the course. And I adjusted my course as a result of that audience feedback. And this is what I did. Micro options. It's called the Inner and Outer Game, Finding a Job, and it's a 30-minute course with 2 exercises on it. It gets them used to being in e-learning and gets them excited about it. It's a mini course. It costs $7. And then they can enroll in a slightly more expensive course called the Ultimate Job Find Guide, which is a 2-hour course and has 6 exercises in it and 4 PDF downloads that are checklists. And I give them a couple of bonuses, and I say, you want more, then you should go to our paid and coached course. And then I also realized that people wanted a lot of one-on-one coaching where they can really work through their careers, and they wanted it in several different ways. So now we offer coaching, 3 sessions, 3 months, or 3 seasons, and people can use it. That all came from the audience feedback. So now here's another course. This is for supervisory leadership. What we ask people, what are your top 2 supervisor frustrations? If you're an employer, and if you're a supervisor, what are you frustrated with? And we then led them into, this is the course that we have to solve that pain. So here were 3. I'm just going to show you 3 of the quotes and what we did as a result. So this one quote was, I have much greater respect for someone, even if they're correcting me and my actions, if I know I can trust their word and they're genuinely interested in my growth or success. So that's a people skill that needs to be taught, or people need to tap into that they've got that, and that is to show sincere interest in others. And we have introduced that into the course, and it wasn't there before. There's this other one, unclear direction, no trust. Results change all the time. The staff is confused, and then everything's micromanaged. So obviously this is pointing to people need to know how to provide direction, how to strategize, how to time manage, right? We already have that in the course, so all I need to do is point to it. And then this one, there's no trust on the team. Individual goals are not aligned with business goals. That we also already had in the course, but I wasn't explaining it in a way that hit people's pain points. So we just used that as an advertising strategy. So this course, I had less things to develop or change, but it was equally valuable. And so I also found from people inside the course that they needed more story videos that explained contexts of other supervisors and what they did, and a few extra tutorials so that they could get really good marks on the quizzes, because they weren't doing as well on some of the quizzes. So I added some extra tutorials and some story videos, and bang, everyone was getting really good marks. Also, I had to really emphasize that the decision makers of the company needed to be on board. And I did a little live webinar with them first and asked them when was the time that they were going to set aside for their supervisors to do the coursework. It's an hour and a half a week. And they all committed to it, and everything went smoothly after that. Okay. And then those same managers verified their goals and talked about them in their tailgate meetings and stuff like that. So it really became integrated. The learning became integrated into the company. And then they hired me to develop a course for their company specific as a result. So those are the 2 most important things. Structuring multiple platforms. I'm just going to say one more thing and then I'll stop. I already spoke about some of the platforms. They're just existing. Just link them to your course. So, link Facebook groups, closed or private. Link Twitter chats to your group. Send instructor video emails. I use Zoom, and I create a video email, and I just talk to the students and say, this is what I'm thinking, and here's a story. And I put it in an email and send it to them, and they're like, they love it, and I'm asking them now to create videos and send them back to me, which is the new detail. And I also have regular weekly Facebook Live sessions where I speak about specific things that come up. And that's something people also really like. So, and then we use surveys, polls, challenges. A challenge has been really fun. I want to do that more. 5-day challenges within the course, 5-day challenge to reach this goal and have the students report back on it. And people love it, like they can hardly wait to take the next course because they love the challenges. So I think that'll probably give you a few ideas, and I would speak more, but we're running out of time.
Right.
This is one example of using video. So I mean, I have characters that I use, and then I have real scenarios, and then I have people to discuss the scenarios and tease out some of the points in it. And there we go. I have something for you, which is, it's an article, Is E-Learning Right for You?, which addresses a lot of things about e-learning that I've researched, and it's helpful both on an individual level, but also for people who are planning courses for the workplace. And if you'd like to talk to me, I'm really happy to talk to you about your course, about your academy, about how you want to run this for your training, so that you can find a way that really works for your context. And also you can buy my courses. If you don't want to reinvent the wheel, you can buy them. And I can tell you what you can do to make them specific to your company so that it's easy. So there.
All right, this is good. So we have about 15 minutes left, and I just want to go, we have about 5 inquiries. Maybe we can go through them quick. And then the rest of it, the last one actually talks about if you can show them. It says, I like the $5 course. Can you refer us to some of these training you are mentioning? So I would like, after we address some of these, maybe you can show your website, Marie, and then go over some of the material in there.
I can show it now. If I stop sharing this, I can share something else, right?
Right.
And
yeah.
while you're talking, I'll just share a different screen.
Okay. So the first one is from Sweden. My learners are plumbers, electricians that just want to search for a video from their mobile phone on how to do something and move on. And they're asking to download my videos and other material. Do you have experience allowing people to download the content? What do you think about this?
Yeah, I personally, I feel like pretty much the content, it should not be proprietary. I develop stuff, and it's, as far as I'm concerned, once I've developed it and it's out there, people can have it. What they're paying for is usually is the interaction, accessibility, or convenience.
Got it.
So there are some things I don't let people download, just like I don't let them download the welcome video because it just doesn't make sense. It's private within the course, but pretty much everything else people can download. And yeah, I'm pretty good with that. Now the problem with working with electricians is that they have become video dependent, and the best way to move them to step 2, because I've worked with several groups of electricians, is to give them quizzes on the videos. So once they've got the video, they go directly into a quiz on what they learned from the video, and that gets them more engaged.
Very good point. Okay, awesome. All right, next one from West Virginia again. This is just a comment. Yes, I started a content management approach. Now connect this content to a digital marketing approach to attract and engage. Thank you. This was another piece of the puzzle. So I guess this is just a thank you note. Thank you from West Virginia.
I just want to recommend to your West Virginia person, there are some fabulous courses about online marketing. So marketing your courses online. And I really recommend listening to those podcasts. They're free. They're great. Listen to Social Media Marketing. It's fantastic. That's a really good one. Listen also to Amy Porterfield's, courses that convert and webinars that convert. Really great. And there's lots more. If you want to list, email me. I'll give you more.
Great. And the last 2 inquiries from Australia. Are you going to share this PowerPoint with us afterwards?
Yeah, I gave the PDF to Ridvan, so I don't know, you can mail it out, or you can give me the list and I'll mail it out to them. I'm quite happy to do that, and then you can have it for sure.
Sure, yeah, we will coordinate with Faith. We will definitely have you take a look at the list, and then either one of us can follow up with a PowerPoint or PDF. And the last one, I already read it to you. I like the $5 courses. Can you refer us to some of the training you were mentioning? So I guess if you can go over some of the material in your courses and how do people get here on what you're showing. I think that's a great way to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes.
Sure. So they can get to me and to my courses through the website. But generally, people don't come to the courses through the website. They come through a webinar, because I do monthly webinars.
Okay.
And the webinar is loosely related to the course, but provides value to people about the topic generally. And then from there, we send out follow-up emails to people, and we offer specific intros and demos to the course from there. That's one way they can come in. So they can, and they also come in through my blogs. And I have an Ask Marie section on my, on my website, and that Ask Marie section has been drawing people in now too. When people download the a checklist from my Ask Marie session, and then from there they come to the courses. So this one has an audio introduction and just picture, and it explains what's happening. And you can see here, this is about cultural differences in the workplace. And so this is a story about the South Asian. This is the free course, and then there's the $5 and $7 course is a little bit. It's similar, but it's a little bit more video oriented. So there's some text and there's some stuff in it, and then this one's about a Cameroonian school teacher and a Canadian school teacher, and the misunderstanding that they had that ended up costing them both their jobs, just to show you how important it is to understand cultural differences when you're working in a diverse environment. And this one was about a Filipino foreman that got promoted and demoted with no explanation why, and how you don't want to be in that situation, how you can not have that happen to you. So this just gives you an idea of that particular course. And then there's the chat box, there's a Facebook group, there are assignments, quizzes, and discussions. And so people can get into that course, and then that course leads at the end, it leads to the ready for the next step. And then check out the rest of the courses that we have here. And here's breaking news, and there's a link. So you can go to an individual course, you can go to a full course, and that just gives you some of the stuff you can do. This one is the 5-day challenge, which I really loved. I'm going to do more of these. I'm doing one inside a course now. And so this is 5 days to better communication with your boss. And the first day is to just join the Facebook group and introduce themselves. The second day is to start working on the first lesson, which is really short. It's about 5 minutes. So look at this, which has like one sentence in it. And then they watch this video and they answer one reflection question, and then afterwards they do their action item. Right. Day 2, they have a cartoon. They learn about when to time their requests appropriately, and they choose a time of day that's best to talk to their boss, when he's going to be most receptive or she's going to be most receptive, and then tell people about it. And then on day 3, it's similar. So they have 3 questions to frame communications with your boss. And then how did you engage, collaborate, or show loyalty to your boss? This is really interesting what people had to say about this one. And the tips were amazing. Everyone in the group learned a lot from that. And then this one is, your action item is name one thing your boss does well and explain how you showed appreciation. And then the 5th one is explain one issue you need to discuss with your boss and think of a possible solution you can offer. But it doesn't say you have to do it. It just says to come up with it. And then when you finish and you let everybody know in the course that you're done, then you get this mug, which I mailed to people, and which I may never do again, because it cost me more to mail it than it cost me to buy the mug. But the challenge was very fun, and people loved it, and they asked if they could have the comments from everybody. And I'm going to run it every 2 months now, and it leads into my other course, which is a quick study manager builder, and they're all micro learning courses. So this is a sample of what it was like.
Got it. So there are people trying to get here by looking at your URL, shiftworkplace.ediongo.com, and it's taking them to log in. So maybe if you direct them how to go to the courses and I guess purchase before
they can only go to the 2 free courses right now, because we're in the middle of redoing our website.
Right, okay.
Our new website will be ready in about 2 weeks, and it has all my $5 courses, my coaching, and all the other stuff on it. Okay. But you can't see that yet. So the only thing they can do is register for one of the free courses just to see what they're like.
Okay.
And yeah.
So
and this is not a free course. This one is a $500 course, plus leadership inventories. And I have lots of videos in this course. And this is the one where I do overviews and mini videos, and I send them this is me doing a coaching session. So I actually recorded the coaching session so they can watch it. And afterwards, we're putting these coaching sessions into chapters and shortening them and editing them. But for now, inside each group that's taking the course, they have their own recording of the coaching session, and that helps them feel more connected. So just to show you how that works.
Got it. Okay. So just so everybody with the comments that they're writing, we will follow up with an email and the instructions how to get to the free courses. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Great. So this was great. Thank you so much, Marie. I think we had a pretty engaged audience, I would say, from the numbers that we have. Of course, everybody that has sent us an email with the questions, we will follow up with an answer in the order we receive them. We have a few more minutes left, I guess, three more minutes. And I just want to thank the audience. Marie, if you can pull up your email, or I can share. Sure. If you share the screen and then just pull up your email. So anybody that has any questions, they can send that to Marie directly. So it's marie@shiftworkplace.com. And I'm sure most of you guys know my email, which is redvan@eduongo.com. Any questions you have, we'd love to answer via email, and potentially maybe jump into a conference call or a Skype call and discuss anything you'd like to. So,
did you type in since I can't see the screen, did you type in the URL for the article?
No, I didn't. That's a good point.
Yeah, so if you wouldn't mind putting that in there. While you're doing that, I just want to tell everybody how much I love EDU on Go. So I've listened to many pitches and looked at a whole bunch of different platforms. But what I love about this company is that they're always there for you, and whenever you have somebody who's assigned to your account, and so you can, usually within an hour, but sometimes it's a little longer, but it's usually not. In a short period of time, you can get your questions answered or get sent to the right tutorial that's going to help for you. And they're constantly updating and revising pieces of what they're doing so that they're making it pertinent all the time. So, and people love also this platform. I've used 4 different platforms before I got to EDU on Go, and the students like it. They never have any problems with the platform. They find it really user-friendly and easy to use. So I just want to say the people are great, the platform is great, the learning is great, the support is great. So go EDU on Go.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Together we're stronger and we can teach the world. I guess subject matter experts like Marie makes us look good. So thank you so much for using EDU on Go and putting these awesome courses. I just saw some of the courses you demonstrated. What you do with the tools inside is just amazing to see. And a lot of our partners will be amazed to watch what you just did on these free courses. So great job to your team, I guess, for putting these attractive courses together.
Well, thanks. I'm still like, you know how it is when you do your own work, you go, I so much want to do this more and this better and everything. And I think that's probably a good sign, because the more you learn first off, the more you learn about your audience, the better you can get to providing stuff that's going to create an environment for them to be really excited about learning more in. And that's what we all want.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I guess we got more people in the last minute joining from Turkey and Nigeria, but we're gonna wrap it up. For everybody that has missed the session, you can watch the recording. We will follow up via an email, and Marie will also follow up via an email. And for everybody that stayed all the way to the end, I just pasted the link to the article and the free download. Right, Marie? There was a download in there that people can.
Yeah, the article there's a download to get into one of the free courses, which they can look at. But the article itself you can print it. I wanted to create a PDF of it, but I didn't have enough time. But the article is really comprehensive, and it addresses a lot of issues about why people might resist e-learning, and how you can get past that, and it's quite useful, I think.
Great. Okay, now we're getting thank you notes. Thank you, everybody. This is from Bobo. Thank you, Bobo. I appreciate it. People from Nigeria, Turkey, thank you so much. I guess we can close it from here. Marie, do you have anything else on the last minute, or?
Well, I just want to do a shout out to the Nigerians because yesterday I was at a Nigerian event presenting on how to network effectively. And I have so much fun with this group. I belong to this Nigerian group. It's a Nigerian business group, and it's really interesting to see how many Nigerians in Canada are starting to use e-learning. So I'm hoping to send them over to EDU on Go and just shout out to the Nigerians. It's always fun.
I'll give a shout out to Turkey that just joined. So thank you so much, guys from Turkey. I just pasted the link one more time for everybody to go to that article, and then feel free to email us and wait for an email from us as a follow-up with a recording link and what we talked today. So thank you so much, Marie, for joining us today. Hopefully we'll do this again in the future. And from Florida, Orlando, Florida, goodbye. Thank you, Marie, again.
Thank you, Ridwan.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, buddy.